Today on Seems Too True, I'm going to show you how you could preserve your sewing patterns to be able to reuse them multiple times. In all my tutorials, I use scissors and cut out my size, but that locks me into that one size only. So if you're looking to make for other people and you want multiple sizes, or you're looking to remake the same garment, but you want something that'll last longer than this paper, then follow these steps to trace it on a craft paper where it'll last you a lot longer, it'll stand to the test of time, and it'll be the best use of your sewing patterns. Of the free sewing patterns that I have on my website. So check them out if you haven't yet, gloryallan.com. Item number one, you're gonna want some kind of paperweight. I don't have real paperweights, so I just use stuff that I have at home. Just make sure they don't have something sharp edges at the bottom so it doesn't rip your tracing paper. You're gonna need a marker, and you're gonna need a tracing wheel. You can get these at most of your fabric stores or get it online. It's not very expensive, but it's very specific to sewing, so I'll have a couple links below if you want to get this. And then you'll need your tracing paper and your craft paper. So step number one is gonna be get your pattern. This one's already cut out because I filmed the boxy hoodie tutorial already, but I'm gonna use this because it fits on my desk a lot easier. Pretend this is the big paper pattern. It's uncut, you just printed it, and you haven't touched it yet. If you have a highlighter, this also helps to highlight the size that you're trying to trace. Next step, you're gonna want to take your tracing paper and you're gonna put the tracing paper over the pattern. If the pattern by chance is bigger than the tracing paper, you'll wanna cover half, cut it, and then do a second piece and tape them together. Now we're gonna take our paperweight and we're gonna put it on the pattern so that the tracing paper doesn't move. Now we're gonna take our marker. We're gonna trace according to the size you are. This is where if you had the highlighter, you'd be a little bit easier to see through the tracing paper. Make sure you go around every edge, every corner, and then take the paperweight, take the tracing paper and the sewing pattern, clear your desk and grab that craft paper. I use an ironing board as a table assistant because this craft paper, big up, so it takes up a lot of space. You're gonna wanna make sure you have something to hold the whole roll, especially if you have more than 5 yards. And then this paper is pretty strong, so I would recommend against using stuff like a bowl full of clips, because if that craft paper overthrows that bowl of clips, there's gonna be clips everywhere and mess up that already probably messy studio. I'm gonna use the same weight to hold my trace paper down, grab that tracing tool, and run along the traced sewing pattern. In a nutshell, essentially what we've done is taken tracing paper over our sewing pattern, marked down the pattern with marker, and then we're taking our tracing tool, putting that tracing paper on craft paper and transferring that same pattern now onto the heavy duty craft paper. With these little dots that are left there, we can cut those out now. So remove your tracing paper. If you have a good eye, you can cut it out right now. But if you can't see these tiny little dots, grab that marker and just trace those same imprinted lines. Make sure you're not using your fabric scissors here. You only ever use those fabric scissors when you're cutting fabric. In terms of cost, the craft paper is about 5 yards for 15 bucks. The tracing paper was 20 bucks and the tracing tool was 3 or 4 bucks. So call it $40 for about 5 yards worth of pattern tracing. Grab your marker at the very end and write on the craft paper and the tracing paper if you want as well, the panel number, the pattern, all the stats from the sewing pattern. Until next time, peace.